Hello, and thank you for joining us for another Savvy Chat. I'm Julie Brown, a certified financial planner and financial strategist with McKinley Carter Wealth Services in our Dayton, Ohio office. On behalf of McKinley Carter, I also lead the Savvy, a society of women pursuing their ideal life. We hope these Savvy Chats, both recorded and in person, bring you new ideas to help you as you pursue your ideal life. Today, we're talking about something that is important to everybody: how to be prepared for retirement, 401ks, IRAs, and beyond. And I'm so pleased to have our guests join us. These ladies really know their stuff when it comes to retirement planning. Monica Garver is the director of our retirement plan services at McKinley Carter. She also meets with individual clients as a strategist. And Kathy White, she's our retirement plan specialist and is regularly chatting with people day in and day out about what they're doing with their 401k and how to make the most of it. Thanks so much for joining us, you guys.
Sure.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. So Monica, I thought you could help us set the stage. You and I have a shared passion. How can we help women become more financially secure and empowered? And I know you've got some really good details on what we know women are facing when it comes to retirement planning. Mind share?
Sure. Thanks, Julie. So Goldman Sachs 2022 published a really interesting survey with a supplemental report titled Women and Retirement Security. And here are some of the highlights. Women control 1/3 of U.S. assets and comprise 47% of the workforce. However, women earn 21% lower lifetime income than men. Also, women have 9 less years of earned income on average. Because women typically take time off, whether it's to care for others, children, or, perhaps parents. Yeah. This affects things like Social Security benefits. 9 years off is a material amount of time. Yeah. Women's retirement contributions on average are 30% less than men. Wow. And mix that all up and add a longer life expectancy, and we need to plan to have our assets last longer in retirement. 60% of women also indicated in this survey that they retired earlier than they wanted to. And 66% of those said it was something that was not their choice. Wow. So they retired early to, again, care for others or, health issues. So 8 in 10 retirement income streams for women is less than what we typically use as an average, which is trying to replace 70% of your income before retirement. Wow. So that's a lot of statistics, but it really shows us that there's some significant and meaningful gaps out there when we talk about retirement readiness for women.
Really, that's some really good data. And I'm interested to hear, Kathy, what you see. That's such a good summary report, what the research is showing us. What do you hear from women when you're talking with them? Real life people every day about their plan.
I meet with participants on a daily basis. And a couple of years ago, I met with someone and she was so concerned because she had not started saving for retirement. Yeah. She felt like she couldn't.
Why bother?
Yeah, it's too late. Yeah. I can't save enough. And so we started looking at her budget and determined that she could get started. And so a couple years later, I happened to meet with her again, and she was so excited because, the numbers were starting to add up, and she was seeing light at the end of the tunnel, seeing that she was going to be able to be on track for retirement. And another of the fears expressed to me is kind of similar to that. What she was expressing was that people feel like they just can't. They just can't take that money and put it aside. But you also can't not put the money aside. So it's scary to make that initial commitment, but you need to just pull the trigger and do it.
And there are so many great tools to see. We'll share, along with this video, a calculator, an example of a 401k calculator to determine a lot of times just a little bit of contribution doesn't impact your take-home pay as much as you think it might.
Exactly.
So I think you're right. Just kind of not using the I can't afford to excuse.
Exactly.
So my next question, Monica, we've talked about kind of what we know the data is showing us and what we hear on the field. What do you think is exacerbating these problems for women?
Well, women in general have less confidence, Julie, in their ability to manage their savings. So you take that fact and then you combine it with the second fact is that women tend to manage their savings on their own. They sort of don't go together, but perhaps maybe women are shy or a little bit, sheepish or don't want to be embarrassed asking that, dumb question, so to speak. However, the appetite for women to have education on this matter and to learn is actually greater than men.
That's encouraging.
So what we want to do is we want to encourage and empower women to use the resources, make themselves knowledgeable. And, there's lots of tools, Kathy will talk a little bit about this, that are available to you. Also, the employer who puts this plan in place is really doing so to help you become ready for retirement. So take advantage of it. So not only are they putting a plan in place, they have a well-defined menu of investment options for your choosing. On top of that, the plan almost always offers lots of educational resources, income generation tools, so forth and so on. So really, although you might feel, that you're not ready or you feel that you need more confidence, there's so many tools and resources out there.
A little step and you can learn a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and I think I really appreciate where you're going with your comments and that this is action you can take. And
absolutely.
We live in that world. What can we do to help people? So what else would you say, Kathy? What are some steps women can take to be better prepared for retirement?
Get started. Don't delay. Start small if it makes you too nervous. Remember that 1% is 1 penny on the dollar. Julie mentioned the savings calculator that we showed on the screen. There's all kinds of tools. So your record keeper is the person who is holding your 401k. And that would be a name like Fidelity, Empower, Voya, one of those names. They have all kinds of tools. Log on. We encourage you to log on and access those tools. See what you can find out. The other thing that those record keepers allow is for you to go on and set your amount that you're contributing to automatically increase every year.
Perfect.
So you pick the time. Do like your smoke detectors. You set those, change the batteries when you set the clocks back. So pick a time for your 401k, whether it be your birthday or do you get a raise, and increase your savings.
Yes. Great suggestion. Absolutely. Monica, what else would you add to encourage ladies to be prepared for retirement?
Just want to put a little structure around some of the things, or some of the statistics, is that on average, contribution savings to retirement should be between 12 and 15%. Now that's a big number, but Kathy just told us, let's not, don't be overwhelmed by that. Let's start small. You can get there. And that includes whatever contribution you're getting from your employer as well. So that's important.
That helps a lot, especially if your employer is doing 3 or 4%.
Absolutely.
That drops your contribution down a lot. It helps.
Absolutely. But people always say, how much should we save? Well, so that gives you a guideline. 12 to 15% should get you into a nice retirement readiness. Also, you need to, when you think about your future self in retirement, you need to think about what other resources of income am I going to have? So it's very important that each of us sign on to SSA.gov and that we have an understanding of what our Social Security will be when we go to retire. And so that's a resource, number one. You should do that. And you need to do that to make sure that the earnings record that Social Security has is accurate as well. And then also don't forget there's other sources of income you might have. You might work part-time. Maybe you have some rental income. There's other sources of income out there. So when you think about your retirement recipe, you want to consider those. Then on the flip side, we need to determine, what does our retirement look like? What does my future retirement look like? Some of you could be absolutely blissful on your porch, reading a book from the library, meaning pretty low budget. Others might have this, absolutely vivacious desire to travel the world. A little bit different budget. So those retirement expenses are going to drive what you're going to need to accumulate to be retirement ready for your future self. But let's not wait until 2 or 3 years before you retire. Let's start early thinking about that so we can plan.
Absolutely. And I would say that's the biggest thing from a wealth management side. When we sit with clients, that are preparing to retire, you know, we have kind of a finite amount of resources and what your income is. This is how much I've saved. That's where we start. The manipulation is the expenses, the things that we can change. So the more you know early, the better prepared you can be for that lifestyle.
Absolutely.
And I think the only thing maybe we haven't touched on that I wanted to add was, if you are at a later point in your retirement preparation or career, maybe you have more money to save, or maybe you are well established in your plan and you're contributing and taking advantage. Don't forget that there's lots of creative ways to save. So if you have more cash flow and want to look at an IRA, a Roth IRA, trust planning, there's lots of different ways that we can make sure we're funneling as much money as possible toward the lifestyle that you want, that we would definitely encourage you to look at. Finally, the last question I had for our guests, I thought it would be interesting to hear from your perspective as a woman and a financial professional. What are you doing to prepare for your retirement? Want to start, Kathy?
Yes. So by being financially prepared for retirement, it gives you that ease of mind. And we talked about saving for retirement early. Some of us don't make that decision and we have to play the catch-up game, I think Monica mentioned. So it's not too late. Save as much as you can, and then you get to make the decision. I think I'm going to work a little longer because I have that freedom in my mind of I can retire, but I'm not quite ready.
Yeah. It's a good place to be.
Right. You always talk about, what am I retiring to? Right. That's important. So, being a financial planner, practice what we preach. And so I would say we're pretty well ready to retire in my household. It's just a matter of, when we decide we're going to be doing that. And again, looking at, what some of those other expenses might be that might cause us to have, maybe work a year or two longer. But that peace of mind is just so incredible. We hope, that maybe this discussion will help some of the viewers, understand that the peace of mind is just invaluable.
I 100% agree. And I think that's a great way to kind of wrap up today's conversation, because you both know we could talk about this for many, many more hours. There's so much detail we can go into. But I would suggest, if you are interested in ensuring your peace of mind, that you're prepared for that retirement freedom, but you don't feel like you are today, there's a couple things you can do next. Each of our regions will be hosting an in-person Savvy event in the next few months, where we'll have a group discussion around retirement planning and saving. That might be a great place to bring some questions. Or if you'd like, you can always reach out to one of our McKinley Carter advisors who can have a one-on-one look at your detail and your life and how we can help you make sure you've got that great retirement plan in place. Thanks so much for joining us today, Monica and Kathy. Great to chat with you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having us.
We sure hope this video has given you some new ideas and you've taken you a step closer to your ideal life.